Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the Field Trips vlog. Today I'm going to run you guys through how I'm rigging out my Wilderness Systems Radar 135. This is a paddle, pedal, and motor kayak. And I'm going to show you guys how I rig this out for inshore and freshwater. Kind of go bow to stern, show you all the different products I'm using. I'm primarily using RailBlaze products, also borrowing some stuff from Night Eyes. Okay, so let me run you through what products I'm using to make my time on the water more efficient. So basically for me, what's important when I'm on the water is to have everything within reach, have everything at hand, and know exactly where everything is, so that when I hook up with a fish and there's that kind of chaos going on, I don't have to sit there and search and look and try to figure out where the tool that I need is at that given moment. So first we'll start off with rod holders. Now the Wilderness Systems Radar 135 does not come with any flush mount rod holders, meaning that you have to add secondary or third-party rod holders if you want to have some rod storage. There's two different ones that I use. We've got the RailBlaze rod tube right here. This thing's a little bit longer. It's going to get your reel a little bit higher up above the water. What that's perfect for is for inshore or offshore fishing, basically saltwater fishing. It's going to keep your reel up above the splash that's caused by any hull slap or a fish frantically, thrashing around the surface. Anything like that is going to help protect your reels from that salt spray. Now, what I love about RailBlaze rod holders is that they're super durable. These things will last you for years and years. This one back here I've had for about 4.5 years. It looks brand new. You can't even tell I've used it. I use it all the time. These are just really well-made products, really thick plastic, and they're just gonna hold up for as long as you need them. And all the hardware that comes with these things is stainless steel, really high quality stainless steel, so you don't have to worry about things rusting or corroding or falling apart on you. The rod tube, it's super easy to adjust the angle. You can have them straight up if you're going to be going under some cover or under bridges or anything like that. You can also lay them down in a couple seconds, couple twists of the knob. Really easy to get that perfect angle dialed in, whether you're trolling or you just want some rod storage to keep your rod handy but out of the way at the same time. Now, in addition to the rod tube, which is somewhat new, they've also got the kind of tried and true proven rod holder too. And now the rod holder too, while it doesn't quite have that length, if you're fishing in freshwater, that definitely doesn't matter. And what I love about the rod holder too is that it will accept any reel and rod combo. So spinning reels and rods, baitcaster reels and rods, and even fly rods are going to fit perfectly in this rod holder too. So that way you don't have to get different rod holders depending on what you're going to be doing throughout the day. And speaking of that versatility, that's really another huge strength of the RailBlaze kind of accessory system. All this stuff is completely plug and play, interchangeable, and universal. So as long as I've got the starports rigged out on my boat in areas where they're convenient, depending on whether I'm going bass fishing or red fishing or I'm fly fishing or heading offshore, or no matter what I'm doing and no matter how often that changes, it's really zero work to reconfigure this and move stuff around, bounce them around between the starports so that you can kind of dial in your system no matter what type of fishing you're going to be doing. So while I'm touching that, let's talk about the starport bases that these RailBlaze accessories plug into. You've basically got three options. There's the traditional starport, which is circular, it's really sturdy, really well made, and it works great for most applications. Then you've got the starport mini. Now the starport mini self-screws into tracks. You have to mount it into a track system, but what I love about it is that it's super low profile. So you can fit a bunch of these on just a short piece of track. You can put multiple accessories real close to each other. They don't add any weight, they just screw right in, super easy to use. And then finally, kind of the big brother of the starports is the Starport HD. And now you've got two options with mounting these. You can mount them with the included hardware, drill them straight into your boat. You've got 4 nuts and bolts for a super secure installation. That's gonna be perfect if you're gonna be putting rod holders on these and trolling from them, or any application where you really want this thing to be rock solid. That's really how I like to install it if I'm gonna be putting a camera boom, which we'll get to in a minute. The camera boom, the sturdier your base, the sturdier the boom's gonna be, and then the more steady your shots are gonna look. And now the Starport HD, you can actually also drill out 2 holes in it. You can get RailBlaze's track adapter kit, and that's what I've done here on the Wilderness Systems. I figure, if I don't have to drill holes, why drill holes? So I got the track adapter kits for these 2 Starport HDs up front, And that not only makes for the installation super easy, super clean, and not permanent, but it also allows me to move these up and down the track so that if I want to get a different angle with my camera boom, or if I want the rod holder a little closer when I'm pedaling, and then maybe I want the rod holder further out when I'm going to be paddling the boat, don't want it in my paddle stroke, really gives me a lot of flexibility and some options in where I can keep these accessories. So since I touched on it, we will get now to the camera booms. I personally use the Camera Boom 600s from RailBlaze. These things are just incredible. People ask me all the time, how do you get all these unique angles, all these different shots? And this is the answer. The Camera Boom 600, it's a super versatile system. You can adjust it every which way imaginable so you can get the exact angle that you're looking for. And where the magic really comes in with this boom, and the reason that I started using this to begin with, was this right here. Its ability to swivel 360 degrees at the base. And now that may not seem like a big deal, may seem super common. I actually don't know of any other camera booms that will do that. And the reason this matters is because we've all been there. It's a long day on the water. You have not been catching fish, you're leaving your GoPro running and it dies. And then of course what happens? Camera dies, the fish start biting immediately, right? So what I like to do, instead of running this thing all day hoping for a bite, I'll swing this in next to me and I'll leave it on, but not recording. So that way, as soon as I set the hook or get a run, or I just have that feeling like the fish, I'm about to get a bite, this is a perfect lay down, or the fish are busting on the surface, I can click record, swing this out, and I know that it's at the exact perfect angle that I set it at before I left the launch. So that really allows me to manage these cameras. I'm typically running 4 GoPros at any time on my boat. It can be a nightmare. People ask me all the time, I do not use the remote to turn those on. I simply rely on these camera booms to make it quick and easy, swing it out, and I know that I've got the perfect shot while I bring that fish in. And so now you can definitely use these RailBlaze Camera Boom 600s stock the way they come, but what I like to do is I like to buy 1 or 2 adjustable extenders from RailBlaze. Lets me really kind of dial in the angle. I can get a little more height, or I can get a little more length, a little more distance from me and the camera. So that's the way I like to run these. I get the Camera Boom 600, I put an adjustable extender on it, and then I use the RailBlaze camera adapter kit instead of the platform that comes stock with it, which will work fine. But I like this, it's a little bit lighter, and the less weight you have at the end of that boom, the less shake you're gonna get and the more steady your shots are gonna turn out. So the final kind of big staple accessory that I use from RailBlaze is their Visibility Kit 2. Now obviously the main purpose of this is for safety. You wanna have a bright colored flag above your head at all times when you're on the water. I've seen too many videos lately of boats just about running kayakers over. A couple times, I mean, actually running them over. It's super dangerous out there. You cannot rely or expect these boaters to constantly be paying attention and looking for you. A lot of times alcohol is involved, a lot of times it's not. It doesn't matter. At the end of the day, if they run you over, it doesn't matter if they were in the wrong. What matters is you got ran over. So I never leave the launch without this flag. I wanna make sure that it is impossible to miss me out there on the water. It's also got a light, which is waterproof, super bright. It's got 3 different modes. It's got a solid light, a dimmer light, and then a blinking light. It's visible from 360 degrees, so that's gonna make you legal after dark in all 50 states. So perfect kind of 2-in-1 tool. I keep it on there all the time. You can also get creative, and again, all this stuff is universal, interchangeable. You can move it around. You can actually put the RailBlaze camera adapter at the top of that flagpole, and now you got a nice overhead kind of bird's eye view of all the action. So again, you buy a few of these accessories, and if you get a little creative, you can all of a sudden come up with some really cool systems for filming or just making your time on the water more efficient. So now let's move back here to my transportation system. So one great option if you want to get a cart for this boat or any boat is the Sea Tug from RailBlaze. The Sea Tug cart is rock solid. I actually did a 100-mile canoe trip in New York. We had overloaded canoes with hundreds of pounds of gear, and we were dragging them over rocks and roots and all kinds of stuff, and they held up phenomenally. So for a long time I used the Sea Tug cart. I still use it on my other boat, but I actually just got this, the Boondocks landing gear. Now what I love about this is actually integrated into the boat. You install this onto your boat, so basically you never leave home without your wheels, and the wheels have basically a down position. And then when you get them down the ramp into the water, you pull the wheels out, stick them in kind of the horizontal position, and then you can be cruising and you still got your wheels. And the other nice thing is that the top of the landing gear kind of support bracket that goes across the back of your boat, there's actually tracks and quarter 20s on the top of that. So I've actually got some of these Starport minis that I was talking about right there on the landing gear. It just gives me that much more real estate to be mounting these accessories. So another kind of staple accessory that I'll use from RailBlaze is the Mobi Holder. Now this is gonna be perfect for holding your cell phone. It's perfect for holding a radio. They also make one for a tablet. Nowadays, with cell phones basically all becoming waterproof, it's super easy and comfortable and convenient to keep your phone on the water. You can hold it in this, you can dial in the angle, adjust the angle if you want to do like a Facebook live feed or just film yourself with your cell phone while you're catching a fish or while you're holding a fish, anything like that. This is going to be perfect. It's got basically springs in here that are going to hold these against your phone, and then it's also got a strap for kind of additional protection to make sure your phone doesn't pop out of this if a fish freaks out in your boat and runs into it, slaps it, whatever. And I've actually got this mounted on one of the fixed extenders from RailBlaze, and then on that, I've got one of their rail-mounted starports, and that actually gives me an additional starport without having to take up any real estate, any surface area on the boat. So you can really kind of get creative with this. I can pop out this rod tube, pop in the Mobi Holder, and then I've actually got a secondary starport here. It's kind of sideways. I would want to adjust the angle on this rod tube, just super easy. And then I can pop that in there. And now with the same single starport that I've got in the track, instead of just having the rod holder, I've got the rod holder and I've got a Mobi holder to put my phone in. So back here, I'm using the ambush tackle bag from NRS as my crate solution. I love this thing. It's got 3 integrated rod holders. It's got D-rings on all 4 corners, so I can really lash that down to the boat, make sure it's rock solid. It's made of a waterproof material, and the lid really overhangs the inner lip. So even if I've got this thing kind of just sort of willy-nilly closed and not zipped up, if it's raining or splashing on it, all my stuff in there is going to stay dry. The 2 carry handles make it super easy to carry all my tackle and my 3 rods down to the water with one hand. Makes loading and unloading a breeze. Super durable construction. All the companies I work with joke about how if you want to figure out how to break a product, give it to Robert. And I've been putting this thing through a ton of abuse like I do all my gear, and it looks brand new. The thing's just extremely durable and extremely well made. I use a couple different products for leashes for my paddle and for my rods. Yak Gear leashes, they make some incredibly strong, incredibly dependable leashes. And then also these Night Eyes kind of cam jam bungees with double clips on either side. Night Eyes makes just some incredible rigging products. If you've never heard of Night Eyes and you're a kayak angler that likes to do any kind of rigging, you're missing out. This is one of their gear ties. These gear ties, I say they're like duct tape. They've got 1,000,001 uses. It's basically, imagine like a bread twisty tie, but super heavy duty. They come in all different sizes. I also use them up here in the front hatch. The problem with most front hatches, you drop stuff in there and what happens? It slides all up and down your hull. You can't get to it ever. So what I did in here is I used a gear tie around the little piece of paracord that holds this hatch lid. And at the end of that, I've got the Night Eyes locking S-beaner. This is their marine grade S-beaner that actually it locks so it won't come open as stuff is shuffling around in there. And I keep one of these RailBlaze perforated bags with kind of a bunch of essentials. I got a couple snacks in there like protein bars and pliers and that kind of thing. The stuff I may need offhand, you know, not stuff that I'm getting to every 5 seconds, but something I may need throughout the day. I keep it in this bag. What I love about this bag is when I get done off the water, I can just hose it down. All the stuff will dry out. And of course, speaking of filming, I always have the action hat on the water. This is an integrated hat mount for cell phones, GoPros, or any action camera. And where the magic really happens is this thing floats. It's got kind of a foam insert in here, a little shell up at the front. It's super comfortable. That foam helps kind of, you know, protect your head from the weight of that GoPro that's on your head. So it makes it a lot more comfortable over a long day in the water. And again, it floats. So $40 hat basically acts as a insurance policy for that $400 camera you've got on top of it. I can't tell you how many times I've gotten a run while trolling and I look up real fast, hat goes flying into the water. And without this, if I just had the head strap or whatever, GoPro would be lost. This is their mesh back, the new mesh back, kind of version 2.0 of the action hat. Super comfortable, keeps you cool. Can't say enough about this thing. I literally never, ever hit the water without this on my boat. But all right, guys, so that's how I rig out my Wilderness Systems Radar 135 using RailBlaze products, along with some stuff from Night Eyes, NRS, and Boondocks. This is the way I like to rig my kayak out. By no means am I saying this is the only way or even the best way. This is just what works for me, but there's a million things you can do. Once you get these starport bases on here, you can really kind of customize your boat for whatever you're doing on that given day. I do a ton of different kinds of fishing and a ton of different kinds of bodies of water. And for me, there is no one system that works every time I'm on the water. So with this system, I've got the starports, and on any given morning, right there at the ramp, I can mix and match and plug and play and move myself around to ensure that I've got a system that's gonna help me get more fish in the boat, no matter what I'm doing on any given day. But that's gonna do it, guys, for this episode of the Field Trips vlog. Please comment below if you have any suggestions or advice, or if you've got a better way of doing something or just a different way of doing something, or tell me about a cool DIY install you did on your boat. Anything like that, I'd love to talk to you about it. I reply to every single comment on my YouTube channel. But I hope you guys found some ideas, got a little inspiration from this. If you have any questions, again, comment below. If you'd like to pick up some RailBlaze accessories of your own, you can go to yakgear.com and use the code YakField20. It's down in the description. You can use that code to get 20% off your entire order. Just go to yakgear.com. They've got killer stuff like leashes, anchor trolleys to position yourself when you're anchored, and then all the RailBlaze accessories that I've talked about. Go check them out. They make incredible products. YakField20 will get you 20% off. Well, that's gonna do it for this episode, guys. Hope you enjoyed it, and I'll catch you on the next one.
Yeah, buddy.